Good morning. It's I don't even know what time it is. It's like 11 in the morning. Um Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Um I know this has been kind of a long time coming, but we've had a pretty rough year this year. We've had a lot of things keep coming up, so the garden walkthrough just kind of kept getting pushed to the back burner. But we're gonna do it today because we've been getting butt tons of rain and everything is doing like way better than last year. Um, but yeah, we're gonna start on the back porch and work our way around because we've actually put in a couple things and it's just easier to start back here and then work our way up. So over here, this is on the back porch. This is all of our hot peppers. They're doing awesome. Serranos, Anaheims, Scotch bonnets, Chinese 5-color, and they're really super pretty. All of the flowers on them are purple. And then I got a little patio cherry tomato plant that actually looks kind of crispy and sad right now, but it's actually doing pretty good, and we've gotten quite a few tomatoes off of it. Same with this one over here. Been getting a butt ton. It's just a little crispy because it's kind of hot up here. But then we've got cayennes, which I actually just picked quite a few off of to make more cowboy candy. And then these are habaneros. This is another habanero that is just not doing as well as the other ones. This is a Tabasco, and today we noticed we've got a little one starting right there. Yay! And then jalapenos. Yeah. And just down from the stairs, say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Shut up. Is this bed here, which we emptied out like last year and then never did anything with it really. And then we emptied it out again this year and tilled it up real good. And Lily and I planted herbs, but only some of them. The basil, the rosemary, the citronella survived. These two are dahlias that we planted because of Astrid. Her middle name is Dahlia. So we planted dahlias, but those will have to be replanted every year because they're not perennial here. And I don't know what that is called, but Mark brought it home one day because he thought it was pretty. And it...
Red hot poker plant.
He brought it home. He just said something and I wasn't paying attention. He brought it home because it looked nice and he wanted to attract more pollinators. And we put it in this back corner bed to hopefully attract more things to the peppers that are on the back porch. And it's actually working. And it's attracting hummingbirds as well. I just call it the bloody bloody Q-tip plant because that's what it looked like when he brought it home. It's kind of starting to die a little bit right now. But it's called something else. It's like a red hot poker plant or something. I don't know if you guys could hear what he said. But yeah. And I have to just say how extremely excited I am this year because our backyard is not just a giant dirt pit. We actually have green. And while it's not currently like mowed and trimmed and tidy and all, you know, pretty like most people want it to be, I'm just fucking happy because my backyard is green. So I could care less.
Show them the wildflowers.
And then the strawberry bed has filled in quite a bit on its own. We've got a couple little bare areas, but these are throwing off so many runners that we'll be able to train them to fill in those areas in the back, and then it'll be all lush and beautiful next year. And they're still producing. These are all ever-bearing varieties, so they're supposed to continue producing until like something like October here. But we have berries everywhere. It's awesome, and I'm so stoked because I'm gonna make jam. And then we have all these wildflowers growing everywhere that have pollinators all over them, and Mark has strategically allowed them to survive in areas where we needed more pollinators in the yard. Whoa, look at those strawberries.
Yeah.
Those ones are huge. Yep. And the garlic bed is currently being overrun by weeds because there's no garlic in it. It's all been harvested. The onions, half of them were harvested because they were ready, and the other half we've kind of left here. This one has started blooming, so I'm really hoping that it just kind of spreads and starts letting onions just grow wherever the hell they want to grow. And then the leek bed, which is quite full. I know I'm supposed to send these, but I don't really care. Life got in the way, so I'm just kind of letting them go. And even if they're kind of on the thin side, that's okay, because leeks are delicious and we can make all kinds of shit with them. Now, standing on the highest point of the yard, you can really see just how freaking green everything is. I love it. I am so happy with it. And soon Mark will hang me a hammock somewhere in this yard and it will be glorious. Anyway, the blueberries, they're not picking up too great this year. I mean, they're still surviving, so I can't even really be angry at them, especially for buttloads of people telling us that blueberries won't grow here in the ground. We had berries last year, but that was the year we put them in. We don't have any berries yet this year, and I don't know if we will. I don't really care. I just want the plants to be really good and established so that in future years we will have plenty. These are also blueberries. And this is Mark's raspberry bush from last year. His golden raspberries that he got from his grandma's. And it's he's very excited because it has started to show evidence of producing fruit soon, so he's super stoked. And then walking through the jungle of weeds.
Forget the wildflowers that are strategically left.
So the wildflowers, I have to show you guys the wildflowers that he strategically left that are very beautiful, and I love all of them. This is a wildflower seed mix that I bought for this region and just kind of spread it out in the yard, and it's been producing beautiful flowers all over the place. I will come and show them the ones under the swing set. The grapes are doing awesome. They're finally actually starting to trellis up the gazebo, which is just awesome. Mark's gonna pick some of the weeds out for me. But yeah, they're all starting to grow up the trellises, so yay. Let me walk through this way so I can show you guys the wildflowers under the play swing set thing, because there are some blue ones that he is very proud of and very happy that they are here, that they have decided to call this place their home. And some more flowers, wildflowers growing under my Narnia lantern that is just randomly out in the middle of our yard. Chickens! Chickens! Let everybody see our chickens. We got rid of the roosters. My friends April and Mingo over at Valhalla Highlands took Groucho and Chip and Dale, the 3 roosters that we had, because they were just, if you can see our chickens' backs, they just started fighting over the chickens, and there's just not enough space and not enough hens for the amount of roosters we had. So we had to let them go. But all of the birds that have the bare spots on their backs, it's like, if you can see on Houdini, her feathers are starting to grow back, especially on Snowball too. Her back was bare for a little while there. And that one's healing up pretty nicely. And the new girls, the new Easter eggers, are really starting to find their way in with the other chickens. But everybody back here is happy. And the little clump right there is some walking onions that Mark got from his grandma's property. And then onto the berries in line in front of the chickens. These right here and those are black currants, or not black currants, black gooseberries. And we actually have gooseberries on them. They're not quite ripe yet. I'm letting them go a little longer because they're supposed to be sweeter. our red currant bush that was here when we moved in. I don't know if you can see through here, but there's some currants. Like there's one there, and there's like a cluster back here. It's actually producing this year, and we didn't think it would because it was pretty battered and eaten up by the chickens last year, but they seem to be leaving it alone this year, so that's freaking awesome. This is one type of elderberry. It has already blossomed. We're hoping it will produce berries, but I'm not sure if it will or not. If it doesn't this year, that's fine, because this is only year 1. And it is pretty tall. It's almost to my hip, this one is. This one, on the other hand, is blooming now beautifully, and it's like to my hip. So yeah. And then this plant here, and hidden in the weeds, this plant here, are green gooseberries. They have not shown evidence of fruiting, but that's okay. Again, this is the first year that we put all of these berries in, and they are doing great, so I can't complain. Mark's potatoes, we will be probably harvesting those this weekend. I'm actually going to discuss with him whether or not we bring the tripod out and film us harvesting the potatoes. Okay, so yeah, so stay tuned. We will probably be posting a potato harvest video this weekend, as long as, you know, life doesn't get in the way again. Then we got our little watermelon vine right there. And then I believe these are all cantaloupes right here. And this little square right here will always and forever be known as my happy patch. This was an area that bloomed a crap ton. And so when Mark was mowing the lawn, he would just leave this little, like literally a square. He would leave this here every time, just for me. And now all the flowers are starting to die, so he's going to mow it this next time. But, and that, Mark says, is a hollyhock.
It could be a hollyhock, it could be a geranium, I'm not sure.
Well,
But
I could check it with the plant app.
Really pretty, and it was not planted. It's a volunteer.
Yeah, it just volunteered itself into our yard, so yeah. And then this is the green bean bed that, again, life got in the way. I never got a chance to hang a trellis, and so everything just grew into everything else. But that's okay, because we has beans.
Everywhere.
We has beans everywhere.
Blossoms.
And blossoms everywhere. And it's beautiful and gorgeous, and I cannot be more thrilled than I currently am. Oh, here's some of the little rattlesnake ones that are purple. Yeah, so we're hoping to get quite a few beans. If we do, I'll can them. If we don't, we'll just eat them fresh. No big deal. Asparagus bed is still looking awesome. That is a butternut squash that has just taken off in this bed. I did get a chance to hang a trellis for this. And we have female flowers everywhere, all over the place. So we should get a good squash harvest out of those. And then that's one of my potatoes that's going to be ready to harvest too.
Jesus Christ.
And this is our zucchini. Keep in mind, I planted 2 zucchini plants here. Just 2. And this is what it did.
Follow me through the jungle.
Yeah, it's just absolutely nuts. And there is all kinds of females in there. Just, yeah. And we've already harvested, 5 zucchinis out of here and have eaten them. I actually shredded 4 of them up and put them into a spaghetti sauce mixture with meat. This was a branch off of one of our tomato plants. I don't remember which tomato plant, but it broke off. And our friend Sean was here and jokingly told me I should just stick it into this empty side of the bed where the lettuce never grew and see what happens. Well, it decided that it was going to make this area its little home, and I know it's got a hole in it, but it's producing frickin' tomatoes, and it is sturdy as heck. And this was a branch off the tomato plant. So that was cool. And then peppers. Lots of peppers. They are growing up and over.
Don't forget your peas, babe.
Oh, I know. They're not really producing.
But they're right here. There's peas right
I know.
here.
Those little pods,
Yeah.
they're not getting much bigger. They've been that little for like 2 weeks. So yeah, so we've got plenty of peppers, jalapenos, and Anaheims all back there. These these are rainbow tomatoes. And they are taller. They're taller than my husband. And he's 6'8". Yeah, stand right here. Yeah, they're literally taller than him. Just about. Like right at as tall as you are. So that's freaking awesome. And they are doing great. There's blossoms all over the place. I'll go around the other side and show you some of the
Chernobyl tomatoes.
The big tomatoes. This is my hand for reference. They're getting quite large. So those look beautiful. These are all of my pickling cucumbers. And they, as well as everything else, are just going absolutely nuts. I have freaking cucumbers for days under here. Not yet ready to pick, but will be soon. A little bit of Swiss chard that survived Houdini getting into the bed and digging all of them up.
The other Houdini.
The other Houdini. We had 2 Houdinis. One had to die because she got into the beds and messed up a bunch of stuff. This whole bed was supposed to be full. This whole row here was supposed to be more pickling cucumbers. And this was all Swiss chard. She dug out most of the Swiss chard plants, dug out an entire row of cucumber plants that I couldn't get to survive. I'm pretty sure these ones were only protected because the tomatoes were growing over them at the time. And then this one and that one were branches that broke off of my cherry tomato plant. So I tried to do the same thing as I did for the other tomato, and it didn't work. But I tried. This side. Yeah, this is just one big, just massive thing. Oh, yeah. So his Brussels sprout is completely just being overtaken by not only cabbage worms that you can see on that branch right there, but flea beetles.
But they're leaving other stuff alone.
But they're not touching everything else that's around it, so I'm good with it.
Completely okay with it.
Yeah, it's so good with it. This bunch here I can show you better on the other side, but these are all garden huckleberries. These are all varying types of tomatoes, and there's cucumber plants in between the tomato plants. But the tomatoes, as you can see all the way back there, are producing quite nicely. Those black berries you see up top above them are those huckleberries that are growing up above. But some of these tomatoes are just becoming massive. And then this area over here, this line in the back, is just all Roma tomatoes. And they're just everywhere, like tons. This is acorn squash and purple basil. Now, I planted the purple basil in the center bed with the acorn squash for 2 reasons. The basil prevents squash bugs. They hate the smell of basil. Squash bugs also tend to affect potatoes, which are planted on either side. The basil keeps the squash bugs away and all the other bad stuff. And I only had so many acorn plants that survived. So I threw some basil in there to take up space in the bed, and it kind of worked double duty. And because of that, nothing has been affected. That's spaghetti squash. None of our squashes or potatoes have been affected by squash bugs, which is freaking awesome. And then I'm going to come around to this backside because my husband hasn't seen this yet either. But this morning I come to check the acorn squash. Lots of beautiful blossoms everywhere. Everything's looking great. I take a little peek underneath, and what do I see? But an acorn squash as big as my hand. It's very large and very heavy.
Might have to sling her somehow.
No, I don't think so. She's pretty supported. And then in this bed, like I said, this is spaghetti squash. And we have quite a few females, including this little lovely lady down here, who's just peeking out and saying hello. And another one over there.
Another one right here.
Yeah, there's a big one over here.
Is there?
Yeah.
Already pollinated or no?
Yeah.
Nice.
And another one underneath there.
Oh yeah, so this one's already pollinated too.
Yeah. And so is this one. And so is that one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Lots
This
of
bed
sunflowers.
is carrots and beets, and that is it. Just carrots and beets. And I'm good with that because we eat a lot of carrots and beets. I actually wish that these little areas would have filled in a little bit better with the beets, but that's okay. Like I said, we eat a lot of beets. And we've got some, sorry, my phone is, we got some starting to peek out above the ground. So yay! And then carrots of varying colors and varieties. Actually, this whole section here is all rainbow carrots, and then this one little line on the edge is black nebula carrots. So these carrots, if you peek down in here, I know they're super thick. I thinned them like 3 times, I promise. But you see at the bottom of these that they're all green all the way to the soil, and they look beautiful. That's probably your regular colored carrots. But over here, if you peek at the bottom of these, you see from about halfway up the stalk to the soil, it's like a purpley black color. These are the black nebulas. And they're supposed to be really super sweet and tasty and yummy, and I'm very excited about them. And then this is the one artichoke that has somehow survived out of the 3 that I planted, and nothing has touched them, nothing is bothering them. So I'm just kind of letting them do their thing. And then this side is the other side of that other bed. This is all tomatoes of varying varieties. We got some that are quite large. We got some in here that are lighter colored, Chernobyl looking tomatoes. These are sweet banana peppers, and we've got bell peppers in here. More tomatoes all through. And then these are garden blackberries.
Schwarzenbeeren.
They're Schwarzenbeeren blackberries. Which, according to our friend Sean's mother, who is German, Schwarzenbeeren just means blackberry, so they're blackberry blackberries.
Or no, that's those ones.
No, those are huckleberries. These are Schwarzenbeeren.
Schwarzenbeeren.
Yeah, which are both a type of garden blackberry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of this is, especially on this side, if you look at these tomatoes, there's some crazy looking Chernobyl ones. But they're just getting massive, and they're everywhere. And these ones are really pretty. They're green striped ones. This big old one right here. But yeah, these ones are also kind of striped. And this is the other side of the bed with the Romas, which, as you can see, there's a lot. And then we got our first slicing cucumber that's pollinated and starting to produce. And then all kinds of tomatoes in here too with the huckleberries. So yeah, that's all of these beds. And I almost forgot our lonely little fig tree that we started in the middle of the yard. It's starting to, yeah, it's starting to take off and spread out and everything, so it's looking real good. And then the last area, that's all junk, and that's going to be hauled away, so just ignore that. But this is our corn patch. And if you can see all the silks, they are everywhere. Everywhere. And some of them have purple silks. And these were all supposed to be fast varieties. None of these are like an Indian corn or a flower corn. These are all varieties for, well, both. There's only 2 varieties in here, but they're both varieties for fresh eating. It's sweet corn. It's not like Indian corn or decorative corn or anything like that. But the stalks and the ears themselves are just beautiful. We got some beautiful long silks coming out.
And we will finally have corn this year.
And we have just bees and pollinators everywhere. All over the place.
That bumbly butt hanging right
I
in front of
know.
your phone.
I know. There's another one over here.
There's 3 of them right there doing dances around you.
Yeah. It's awesome. And we love it. And I think that's it. I think we showed them everything. So, yeah. Hope you guys have a good day.